Morning, everybody. We will call the Wright County July 20th board meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everybody. It's sure nice to hear such a loud Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes.
Must be from those veterans in the back row.
Sound off.
Alrighty. The minutes from July 6th. Are there anything that needs to get changed?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the July 6th County Board meeting.
I will second that.
Motion by Commissioner Batch, second by Commissioner Hewsome. Any further discussions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Commissioner Wetter has been excused for today's meeting, just for the record. Regarding review and approval of the agenda, we have one item that we need to remove.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, I'm looking to remove item F on the consent agenda, planning and zoning. Just a brief discussion on it.
Okay. Anybody else have anything else they would like removed? All right.
With that, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with that one removal.
Removing it to timed item or just removing it for a future?
No, timed item.
Okay.
Okay, that's for the overall agenda. All right. I have a motion. Do I have a second yet?
I'll second it. Better Mike.
Motion by Commissioner Hewsome, second by Commissioner Ketchmark. Any further discussions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Consent agenda. Does anybody have anything else they would like to remove or for further discussions?
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Ketchmark.
just under B, number 5 claims, I just have 3 for clarification. I did some, but still have clarification and discussion on 3.
All right. Any other? Not, I'll look for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the removal of item B5 and then obviously the one from previous before item number F.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Batch, second by Commissioner Hewsome. Any further discussions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. I guess we'll start with B5.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So under the claims from July 20th, there was a charge of $6,557.20 to AEM Workforce Solutions, and I did inquiry with Administrator Kelly, and it sounds like that's part of the ongoing personnel investigation from April or May when I kind of brought that up. So then further down, there's a charge of $1,602 to the Madden, Glanter, Hansen, and doing some checking. That is part of a personnel matter and investigation along with a potential policy change. And one question is, are those two related somehow? That they're they're both working on the same case to some degree?
No, Matt and Gallender Hansen, Mr. Ketchmark, is our labor attorney that's worked with the county for many years. In that specific claim, they've done a variety of services to us. It is not related to the AEM claim. Some of the things on that Madden, Gallenter, Hansen claim, we adopted quite a substantial review of the policy manual, the 100-200 section, about a month ago, and they had helped us kind of give the final review of that. Off the top of my head, I believe there was a grievance that they worked on for us in that piece too, but it is separate than the other claim.
Okay, and I was just wondering, so that AEM, that I think by my math, we're up to around 19 or 20,000. Is there any estimate on how much longer? I saw one report it was going to be hopefully the end of June, but is there any time frame update there or not? Or
I hate to give you a date, as it's been slower going than we anticipated. Hopefully this month we'll be able to wrap it up.
Okay,
And as I mentioned, at a point, I'm anticipating that will be a closed session with the board to brief the full board on that matter, so.
okay, thank you. And then the last one was July 20th, there was a charge of $6,245, and the coding was new cameras, security, and alarm systems at the training centers done by Allstate Communications. So I talked to the facilities building administrator, Allen, and he said that these were new items added, but it's coded as repairs. So I guess I'm wondering, since this facility's been open a year, if these were approved expenses from the beginning, that I wouldn't consider repair of an item that wasn't there in the first place a repair. And so there's a coding factor there. And then I guess I would ask if there was a proposal, let's say that the parking lot and the driveway is gravel and it's full of potholes and, hey, we need repair, we're gonna pave it. Well, was that an original approved cost by the previous board in that case? Or let's say a programmable sign replacing the construction sign at the beginning of the entrance where it says coming soon, and that's down. Now, if there was a proposal for a new sign, would that be coded as new or repair based on a past approval, but just that the construction part of it is kind of ongoing? I'm wondering about the coding part, and if we're calling something that's brand new, not installed, a repair, that just doesn't seem quite accurate.
So I can speak to that. I'm just pulled up the discussion on it. It appears that there were multiple things included in that claim, including some cameras that we had over the new campus north of town. We've had cameras on that site doing a time lapse for quite a while. It appears that some of those had failed and needed to be replaced, and then the other piece, it appears, was relative to the training center. So kind of two things there. And your question, I'm sorry, I was trying to catch this while you were asking the second half.
Well, for accuracy, I guess, should we separate new from repair? Because if someone comes forward and you have a gravel parking lot saying, hey, this is full of potholes, we need to repair it, so that's going to be a paved parking lot project, but it was included in initial construction, let's say, so is it going to come forward as a repair or something new? And I guess for accuracy purposes, we should, I think, separate new from repair, actually, because a new is actually part of, at this point, I would think, new construction of a building if the previous board approved it that way, but it just took extra time for whatever reason to get it done.
Well, it's either that, or we could have found out that there was some gaps in security. And that's probably what happened. Commissioner Houston?
And as Administrator Kelly said, you know, if they're replacing cameras that, you know, are failing, which we had that discussion last year at the law enforcement center, is that part of this, Administrator Kelly, you said?
Yeah, I have some information here. It appears that it was a repair for the ones on the site north of town, and then it was included with other work that we had from Allstate Communications, and I take the question from the Commissioner Ketchmark to be, should they be separated out into two different things, repairs and maintenance, rather than it all being under one? Should be repairs and maintenance and new construction and new site. So certainly can recode it if that's the preferred direction.
Well, it sounds like it's two locations also. I thought it was all training center, but if we're talking about two sites, doesn't that come under different?
Same department, I suppose.
Chair, one thing is, I guess a lot of this comes down just to our internal fiscal policies, and if you get one invoice from a purveyor and it is a combined invoice, one may be a new construction or an add-on, where the other part of it is maybe a repair piece. I don't know that within our fiscal policies it really defines out or doesn't direct the department head to have to ask the purveyor to separate the invoices into two separate invoices to code it. Maybe this is more of a definition factor that we have to, if the board deems that as having to be. I think they're looking at it from the efficiency side of it. If the repairs budget line has enough funds for it to cover that piece, Yes, I understand Commissioner Catchmark's piece to it because it lacks transparency then, because it was some additional new construction pieces that were added in that were kind of put in as sold as a repair when that was not the actual case. But then that's a place that we would have to, through our internal fiscal policies, have to make some clarity. But there was a hand up.
Yes, sir. AW.
Adam. Alan.
Alan. Alan, you have something to say?
I just wanted to make myself available to clarify because the comments made earlier here a minute ago about it being for the training center are not entirely accurate. The cameras that are being replaced, as I noted in my response to the email, was for the construction security on the campus. So there were cameras related to the oversight of the backside of the buildings where we didn't have coverage, as well as they're taking time-lapse photos to document the construction on the Government Center, the Justice Center projects. That was part of the invoice. The second piece was for security at the training center, a dispatch alarm security system that when it's mentioned that it's repair, keep in mind the 6301 account, repairs and maintenance are really all the operations account. So it's not necessarily a repair, but it's part of maintenance operations, which that's the second part of that line item, not just repairs. So just wanted to kind of clarify those pieces. If there's a different line we'd like it coded to, I'm happy to do that. If you recall, not that long ago, the board made a recommendation for the overage on that construction beyond the bond to pay out of reserves. So if you'd like to pay it from the project, that would come out of reserves anyway. So I'm okay either way. Just wanted to clarify any questions I can help with.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Ketchmark.
I guess, just in general business, to me, new is new and repair is repair. And if we got a code for one and a code for the other, I would like to see it separated and go with the appropriate facility. I think that.
Mr. Chair, I think it's more the pieces, it's repair and maintenance, and the discrepancy is having these cameras there is viewed as a piece of equipment used to maintain the safety. Maintenance is what was a piece. I mean, if you wanted it coded something differently.
Well, let's hear from finance, who can help muddy the water even more.
I'm going to try not to. Good morning,
Hello.
Commissioners, Chairman, Commissioners. So in general, we agree if it was capital, it should go in capital, otherwise it should go. But sometimes things happen. And in general, with ERP, this stuff is going to try to be streamlined a little bit more. But like Alan said, the codes we only care if it's capitalized or not capitalized. If it's not going to be part of the building, then it doesn't really matter. Do you know what I mean? And the coding for the financial statements. We're kind of picking apart something that doesn't matter.
Okay. I guess the question is, what things do you capitalize? And then you get into the deeper question of, with technology equipment and capitalizing it, where does it start and where does it stop?
I thought it was with a higher value or something.
25,000.
That's what I'm saying, because I don't think those, that's.
I mean, could we be better at coding? Yes. Could every county be better at coding the distinction? Absolutely. I mean, this is nothing that's unique to Wright County. As we're going through the ERP and account coding, we're finding this a lot of places, and it's not unique to Wright County. People have to make a judgment call when they're coding the invoices, and sometimes maybe it could have been a better one, but sometimes that was the information they had at the time.
Yeah, thank you. And it just seemed like it was kind of a package deal of multiple things, and I thought, okay, should we separate and see where this is all at? But thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
then I'll look for a motion to approve item B5.
I'll make
moved. You can
a
have it.
motion to
Second.
approve that.
Motion by Commissioner Ketchmark, second by Commissioner Vetch. Any further discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. All righty, item F from the consent agenda, planning and zoning.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. I come before you, we have a denial on a rezoning application. This is in regards to the zoning application of Anthony Rager Borer. The board, the planning commission conducted the public hearings, compiled the record, and came up with some draft findings for the board. They've been presented to you, and I assume everyone has reviewed them. So if everything is in order, we're just looking for you to adopt it.
And I guess, Mr. Chair, so the findings, just a question on that one was, just because this is more for a point to the board. I mean, just in the Corinna Township was they were pushing in favor of the rezoning. It is not continuous. It is, so you, under the factor, you have to consider what is special and unique then at that point to create a new AR zone. The board, after great discussion and a 4-2 vote, says no. I think the Corinna Township, if you review the minutes and stuff, the struggle there is the lack of where is there going to be AR in Corinna Township then, because they have a number of residents that want to stay close to their family and want to live in Corinna Township, and they can't build anywhere in there because the ones that abut the current AR aren't willing to, or aren't interested at that time to selling, and those that are a little bit further out in the straight ag area who have some people that want to develop or want to be able to put a family member on their property cannot then because it's not continuous. So it's a bigger overall discussion in terms of how do you fix that situation. So,
Mr. Chair?
Commissioner Newsom.
Yeah, Attorney Kreiser, I think when I was going through all these pages, what was slightly confusing is the fact that a previous town board, Corinna Town Board, had cited 19 reasons why they should not go through with this, and then it came to this town board, but after discussion with the planning committee, they determined that it just was not appropriate at this time anyway, even though there was a lot of discussion, I understand, about need for this person to build a residence there, but yeah, with the 4-2 vote, I guess they had a lot of discussion.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Hewsome, the Planning Commission discussed this one extensively. I think he even did a site inspection, if I'm correct, Mike.
Yes.
So they really looked at this one in depth, and at the end of the day, this proposed rezoning was not in the land use plan. It's surrounded by property that's owned by the state of Minnesota, and the Planning Commission found, or recommended that you adopt and find that this proposed rezoning would actually be considered spot zoning underneath both theories under Minnesota law. So, because there isn't another AR out there, it literally would be an island of nonconformity in the middle of an ag district.
All right. Any other discussions or questions?
Mr. Chair, and that's what I say. I mean, I agree with the findings of is unfortunate as it is. There's just the way the circumstances are of it. I mean, the policies are what they are, and it's just something just to bring more attention to the board that I think we're going to have more struggles with this in that area, and how it gets fixed, I'm not quite sure, but something we have to consider.
Mr. Chair?
Mr. Ketchmark?
Thank you. And yes, I was on the commission on the meeting, did a site inspection, and at the meeting, there was public comment from citizens in the area that voiced opinions that they didn't think that this should happen because they felt it opened the door for other similar or same situations in a neighborhood that they wanted to keep the same way. So we did give it the time and go out and take a look, and the rare and unique, it met it for some and not for others, and that's how the decision came about.
Okay. And I would look forward to a motion then to deny.
A motion to adopt the
Adopt it.
notice and order for denial of application for rezoning with findings as presented by the Planning Commission.
Mr. Chair, I'd make that motion as described by Attorney Kreiser.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
as challenging as it is, I will make the second on it.
All right, motion by Commissioner Ketchmark, second by Commissioner Vett. Any further discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say, is this a resolution? No, it's not a resolution.
Motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
And
Motion
Mr.
carries
Chair,
unanimous.
Mr. Chair, since it passed, is Mr. Anthony Rigger-Bohr in the room? Look like it, so we'll be mailing the findings to him.
All right, thank you. Good morning, Mr. Hawkins. We're running a few minutes late, but you're used to that.
No worries. Good morning, Mr. Chair and Board of Commissioners. There's 2 highway items today for your consideration. The first one is to approve a resolution of final acceptance for contract 2102, which was our countywide seal coat project this year by Allied Blacktop, and issue final payment in the amount of $519,000, $439.86. There's a resolution with that, too.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the resolution of final acceptance of contract number 2102.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Vett, second by Commissioner Ketchmark. Any further discussions? Hearing none, roll call. Commissioner Ketchmark.
Aye.
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 Resolution carries unanimous.
Okay, thank you. The second item is recommend award of contract 2108. This is a state park road account project, Monticello Township for Fallon Avenue, which is a township road. And I did join the township meeting last night, and the Monticello Township does concur unanimously to go ahead with this project based on the low bid by Knife River.
Here, I'll make a motion to award contract number 2108 to Knife River.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Hewson, second by Commissioner Ketchmark. What park is this going to be by?
Well, there's the DNR landing off of Fallon that they built just a few years ago. There's an access off of Fallon Avenue, and this would pave the road, Fallon Avenue, leading to that and actually a little bit beyond that too.
That's one of the few dirt roads left in Monticello Township. I think it's maybe the only dirt road left in
Where is
Monticello.
it? But what's that close
So
to?
if you're off of 37, it's just south of 37 before you get to Edmondson.
Is that by Pelican?
Yeah, there's a DNR access that was,
I think that's the only thing off of that
Approved.
road, really. I mean, there's
Pelican.
maybe a house or two.
Yeah, okay. Now I know exactly what you're talking about. All right. I was just trying to picture it in my mind.
Yep.
All right. Did I have a motion?
Motion, I made the motion.
Second.
All right. Motion by Houston, second by Ketchmark. Any other discussions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous.
Okay, thank you.
Before you run away, do you want to give a quick update about some of the construction that's been going on and with the weather the way it's been, how far ahead of schedule maybe some of them are or
yeah,
behind?
as bad as the drought's been for crops and things that way, that construction activity's been ahead of schedule because it's good for road construction. Highway 39 in Otsego, the latest update I had, paint markings will go down next week now. So by the end of next week, that should be open to traffic. We'd still, even though it's all paved now, as of yesterday, we want to try and keep it closed, but hopefully people won't be breaking through at night, but sometimes it does happen. But just for the safety of getting the signs up and the pavement markings, we want to keep it closed until those things are done. So that should finish and be opened up the end of next week. Highway 118 construction has started in the Monticello area, and that too, the grading part, they've made really good progress so far.
Good. We haven't had rain.
No.
To stop it. Getting any? Tonight at 6 o'clock.
Any other,
The seal coat project was, that's completed. That was the final today that was accepted. The pavement
That-
preservation work is being done on various roads, and most of that's done. I think Highway 19 north of Albertville up to 39, they're working on that right now. But that should wrap up here soon too.
they must be ahead of schedule on preservations and seal coating and all that sort of stuff just because of the weather.
Yes.
Good.
And then the other project going on right now, we have a lot of them, is Tiger Drive and 30 in Delano. It's a mini roundabout. And that one, they just began work a couple weeks ago, and that too is at least on schedule or ahead of schedule. They've had a few utility conflicts there that have delayed things a little bit.
Yeah, you were saying the one on 39 wasn't supposed to be done, or it was required to be done by October, middle of October, if I remember
Right,
correctly?
yeah, they did have, the end of the construction season, October was the deadline, but they're going to be finishing earlier than that.
Which would be beneficial to them. They can find other work and
Yes.
get ahead.
Well, to save an email, I'll just say it out there since we're talking some other construction stuff. Jameson in 18, that stoplight, it must not be working because
Oh, that's right. I was,
people had to run it red because it never changes for 18.
Yeah, I
It just
was
stays
gonna-
green on Jameson all the time, doesn't ever change back to, so.
We're aware of that, and that's being looked into. There's, I think, 3 traffic signals that went haywire yesterday, and 2 of them were on our system. One was reported on MnDOT system in Wright County, and we passed that along to the state, but they're being resolved.
yeah, I meant to, because I was on 18 numerous times over the weekend, and I timed it once. It was like 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, what happened, the video detection is not working, and it went to recall, even though cars aren't there, so then it's stopping traffic when there's nobody around. So
Yep.
Yep.
it's frustrating, of course, but
Yep. So, yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I forgot all about it. But I'm glad that you guys were on top of it.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
You can only take so many rights.
All right.
Hey, thank you.
Anybody else? Any other questions for Virgil? Not? Thank you, Virgil.
Run away now.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, we want to skip item B, don't we? County ditches?
Matt solved them all. We don't have anything to talk about.
He claims that this one will take less than 2 minutes.
Really?
3.5.
Have we ever had a ditch item that was able to be done in 2 minutes?
All right, good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Item number 1, approve the findings and order correcting the drainage system records for Wright County ditch number 13 under Minnesota Statute 103E.101 subdivision 4A. And I provided a little bit of background on it. It's been a while since we'd finalized that. But yeah, this would be approving the findings and order that Greg drafted.
Yeah, it might be good, Mr. Chair, for just to kind of highlight this a little bit, because there's several maps and, basically just to correct the records that were established in 19, was it 10?
What, they weren't correct in 1910?
They were correct in 1910.
Oh.
They just got a little less correct over time.
Yeah, good point. So yeah, this is the one in Christine's district. We submitted our original reestablishment of records without some evidence of where a tile was located upstream. We had a lot of good records on it. We knew it was there. The DNR disagreed with that, so we actually had to go and dig it up, and Christine was out there that day. So we dug it up, took survey elevations on the tile, and then submitted the second draft of that report.
But it was right where you said it was?
It was right on.
It was-
It couldn't have been any closer.
Yep, Matt was down there, in the, way down.
The girlfriend loved the smell after.
I bet.
All right. Any other discussions on that one? If not, look for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the findings and orders correcting the drainage system record for County Ditch number 13.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Vetch, second by Commissioner Houston. Any further discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Item number 2.
The item number 2 is the approval of the payment application number 4 of $65,982.42 to Blackstone Contractors LLC for work done on County Ditch number 10.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the payment application number 4 for $65,000 to Blackstone Contractors.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Vetch, second by Commissioner Houston. This is a resolution?
Catchmark.
Or Catchmark, I'm sorry.
Um,
That's a resolution? No.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. It was in 2017 as a resolution.
Okay. And this was for, what particular thing were they doing on ditch 10?
Yeah, it's kind of broken down, some spoil leveling, some additional ditch cleaning that happened after pay app number 3. So I think
Okay.
there's 9 proposed pay apps for
Okay.
the ditch, so.
All right. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Item number 3.
Item number 3, I'm asking for permission to apply for the multipurpose drainage management grant for joint ditch number 15. This is actually a project that we kind of already received initial approval to move forward on with the ARP funds on joint ditch number 15 for some water and sediment control basins. I'm looking to apply for this grant to offset some of those ARP funds and try to stretch them out as far as we can.
I will make a motion to, for Matt to apply for the multipurpose drainage management grant for joint ditch 25.
I'll second that. Can't hurt to try.
Yeah, no, we're.
Motion by Commissioner Houston, second by Commissioner Vetch. Any further discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. I guess on page 5 of 5,
Or 13.
and it's dated 20th of July, talks about, the question was on adoption of resolution and motion. Oh, okay, so that was an older one. All right, I got it.
Yep.
So, okay. All right, item 4.
All right, item number 4 is to schedule a public hearing on the petition for partial abandonment of county ditch number 14 under Minnesota Statute 103E.806.
I love those type of hearings.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to schedule a public hearing on the petition for partial abandonment of county ditch number 14.
And Commissioner Vetch, so we were working with the landowner, and we came up with the date of September 21st, 2021 at 9:30 a.m.
I have a motion, to have a second?
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Vetch, second by Commissioner Ketchmark. And county ditch number 14 is where?
It's in Buffalo Township, yep, so just south of Mary Lake, so southeast of us here.
If it's a teen ditch, it's usually in District
Yeah.
1.
That was by Zion, was one of the benefited landowners, Zion Lutheran.
Okay. Any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. September 21st at 9:30 a.m., right, not p.m.?
AM, yep. Figured I wouldn't put you in that late, but.
Mr. Chair?
Yep.
Man, I guess I still have a question about whether that we should have passed a resolution for County Ditch 13 at this meeting. If we, I was kind of confused about, it said question was on adoption of the resolution, the motion passed and the findings dated this 20th day of July, so should that have been a resolution?
Greg?
We just did a standard.
We just did it as a vote.
Because it didn't call for a resolution on the minutes, or I mean, on the agenda. So it's okay?
We're okay.
All right.
Good, thank you. Just had I started wondering, doubting.
Oh, I had to ask Greg a bunch of questions.
Yeah. It's Greg's fault if we get into trouble.
Clarify which grade you're talking about.
It makes no difference. Item number 5.
All right, item number 5 is to schedule a ditch committee of the whole to discuss upcoming redetermination of benefits. We are suggesting August 10th at 9 a.m. So essentially this meeting is, we have a couple or 3 redeterminations of benefits that we held a initial public hearing on, but they were continued and we haven't finalized them. We also have a few redetermination of benefits that were ordered quite some time ago, and having the hearings for that and information.
I think on ditch 33, we're at what, 2 years?
Something like that, yeah. And then there's County Ditch 16 and 19 that we had the initial hearing, and just trying to come up with a plan, because Greg and I went and looked through them, and we have quite a few kind of coming up, so we're trying to make a plan for the fall and winter, so.
So August 10th at 9?
9 a.m.
During the workshop?
No, that's the, yeah, that's
If you
the
give me
workshop
till, if you move
meeting.
it till the September, I might have answers by then.
Yeah. Did we move this to 10?
It was 10:30 is what was listed on the,
Okay, yeah, so I apologize. I got lost in the, so 10:30, yep.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, we're just looking for a meeting after the board meeting.
okay,
On August 10th.
yep.
Admin will send out an Outlook invite, right?
Make it happen.
Well, we have the workship that day anyway.
Oh, we do, okay.
It's a Tuesday.
All right. Well,
You're
that way
gonna
I
be
just-
here.
I always like it, and then it just populates my calendars.
Alrighty,
I'll do it myself.
okay. Can I have a motion?
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Ketchmark.
I'll make a motion to accept the meeting for ditch committee of the whole to discuss upcoming redetermination of benefits on Tuesday, August 10th, after our workshop, approximately 10:30.
Okay? Have a motion?
That-
Second.
I did second it,
Oh,
but
you did.
Motion by, yeah, she doesn't, not very loud.
I'm just hard of hearing.
Motion by Commissioner Ketchmark, second by Commissioner Houston. Any further discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Items for consideration. Administrator Kelly.
Thank you, sir. The item before you here is to set some informational meetings regarding the broadband feasibility study that we are conducting with Design 9 Consultants. As part of their process, they wanted to have a couple meetings open to the public to provide input, answer questions. So we had looked at, based on their schedule, looked at some dates in the latter part of August, both the 23rd at 4 p.m. and the 24th at 7 p.m. So.
Mr. Chair,
Question.
Administrator Kelly, is this for the commissioners to be at both meetings, or we're not necessarily part of this meeting?
You would not be required to.
Okay.
We just wanted to make sure that we got the notice out and publicized it and set those dates early. So certainly welcome to attend if you would like. We would probably post it as, if you were to attend and there would be a quorum, just as the public notice for the open meeting law to be safe, so.
And where is this going to be located at?
We're planning at this point to use the boardroom here.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Ketchmark.
just a question, is this more tied to the broadband committee then than
Yes, yep.
anything else?
Yep.
Because I know broadband comes up in a couple different areas, so,
Yeah,
And
okay.
this is the company we've hired, and this is information to let the public know what our thoughts are and to get feedback, and hopefully that there's going to be some great benefit to existing people that have broadband and people that don't have broadband. Because they claim that in places where they've done these studies, that actually some of the existing broadband companies start reducing their rates because they're afraid of competition.
That'd be nice.
I agree. I agree. I'm looking at alternatives at my house.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to schedule those public information meetings for Wright County broadband feasibility study for Monday, August 23rd at 4 p.m., Tuesday, August 24th at 7 p.m.
And I'll second that, Mr. Chair, with just one point of clarification. Did they determine a location on this? Did I not?
Yeah.
It doesn't say on there, but it's going to be here.
It's gonna be
I just
okay.
asked.
Okay, I missed that part. I was like trying to read through all these things and checking my schedule, make sure those dates open.
Do I need to start using my outside voice more?
No,
Or
I'm
maybe-
multitasking at the same time. I'm looking at the schedule and I was like trying to, and I missed your repeat what you're saying. All right.
Maybe you need to pretend we're your kids and raise your voice a little bit,
You're
Administrator
like my
Kelly.
parent and I just ignore you.
No, that could be.
Just,
That's what my kids do when I say anything.
and just one point to add too, we are, as you may recall, doing a survey on the webpage, trying to gather some information too, so just wanted to highlight that for the public as well. So.
Alrighty.
Maybe we can just camp here all day because we'll do our first budget meeting that day at 7 in the morning and we'll just stay here till.
Keep going.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Thank you. Committee of the Whole on July 6th. Derek?
I did hear you. Just gonna give you a hard time. All right. But, on July 6th, quite the robust meeting to discuss American Rescue Plan funds. So started off kind of updating the process of where things are at. We made a decision there to direct more of the funds. The previous meeting before that, we had put about $4 million in investments, and we now have directed an additional $4 million. So I think there's about $8 or $9 million that we moved to investments at this time. Since the funds will be utilized at least in the next 3 to 6 months, there won't be any distribution likely, or at least any large amounts. Then there was also the discussion of some different allocations and some of the stuff within public health and regarding their, what do you call it, the public health assessment, and the being able to move forward with that. The other thing we discussed then was the consultant for the ARP funds. There was 2 of them that came forward. One was Baker Tilly, which was more of the compliance side and possibly some pieces that would be able to be utilized in terms of implementation. And then there was the Flaherty and Hood firm, which would be more of the grant research side and making sure that we point applying entities to the right place, whether it's here or someplace else for funds. At that time, it was referred to a recommendation to have a committee of the whole, which is coming up in the minutes here, last week on the 14th, for some interviews with those 2 firms. The next was Matt Detchen did a wonderful job in putting together a proposal for American Rescue Plan funds for water quality projects. There was some discussion about moving some of the broadband funds to move forward with some water quality funds. Didn't do anything at that time, but the commissioners did approve the proposed water quality projects, at least part of the proposed ones, in the amount not to exceed $2.5 million. There's, I think, just shy of $5 million in the total proposal, but we went with the first phase of ones. The Parks Director, Mark Mattice, came forward after that with some different possible options for park improvements. There were some questions about the ability to do so, and it was kind of put on hold for continued discussion once we have a consultant on board to clarify the ability to do so. Then we also had Captain O'Malley from the jail come over, jail administrator, to talk about some improvements that were made that were approved COVID-19 expenses and utilizing ARP funds for such. That was approved. Then there was some infrastructure discussions regarding broadband and water sewer. There's been demand from the cities looking for some funds from the county to help match their ARP funds to do some water quality and water treatment and water infrastructure repairs and upgrades. So at this time, the county put $4 million will be allocated for cities' use for water and sewer. More details will be vetted out with that in the future.
And that's matching.
That's matching, yes, matching funds. And we should probably memorialize that in the minutes.
Yeah, and also the broadband too, that was all matching also, I believe,
Yeah,
for the most part.
well, in the broadband one at this point, because we didn't know what we're doing with it, so we haven't really put any.
Yeah.
I think it's put on reserve but not allocated, so we have the allocated $4 million for the cities. We have to develop an application process, but we can make sure we do that with memorialize the matching piece with it. Program details refer to the future committee of the whole for the volunteer recruitment for safe families through Wright County Health and Human Services, the expanded emergency assistance through Wright County Health and Human Services, and technology support and training for seniors through Senior Community Services, and economic assistance for Wright County 4-H through Wright County 4-H. And with that, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes and the recommendations from the July 6th Committee of the Whole.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Vetch, second by Commissioner Houston. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous.
Well, we're moving forward here after many meetings of the ARP. At least I think we're making some good headway, and I do thank staff for putting together a very good process that I feel very comfortable with.
Commissioner, here's some county board workshop of July 13th.
We vote. Did I blank out our vote?
Yeah, we voted.
Nobody's voting. It's contagious, isn't it? Like, there's so many things.
Do you need more coffee?
Maybe the oxygen is low in here.
It is really stuffy in here.
You were a veteran, I could get you some hearing aids.
What?
Okay, the county board workshop minutes. So, the county board met on July 13th, 2021. Members present, Hewsome, Delyden, Wetter, Ketchmark, also Administrator Kelly, and a number of other folks in staff, plus Flaherty and Hood, and Amara Architects was there. So anyway, the first item on the agenda was to schedule meetings as needed. And one thing that came up at our township officers meeting was some right-of-way management practices and culvert improvements. And Kelly suggested that we add the topic to the Transportation Committee of the Whole for July 27th, 2021. He also suggested moving the fiscal agent contracts discussion from the Finance CIP agenda on July 19th to the Committee of the Whole, also on the July 26th. And so the recommendation is to additional items to be added to the Transportation Committee of the Whole, right-of-way management maintenance practices, which is weed spraying and mowing, and highway maintenance culvert improvement practices, lining and aprons. And also additional items to be added to the Committee of the Whole fiscal agent contracts. The second item was the dental clinic project. Project Administrator Elizabeth Carroll presented the project schedule, which is currently in the pre-design phase. Construction is targeted to begin at the end of 2021 and will take approximately 60 days to complete. The dental clinic is anticipated to be open in June 2022. And the county must submit several submittals to receive the funds from the Department of Employment Economic Development, the DEED grant. And once that's in place, we can request reimbursement for the rest of funds. So we do have a steering committee that is meeting on that. And also the Aramera Architects has drafted the pre-design report and is currently being reviewed. It will be moved for final approval in August 2021. And there is a cost estimator for the pre-design, schematic design, phrase, etc. And the pre-design report will be listed as design, build, which is the best value. The current county previously committed to funding to the construction of the shell for the dental space, and the concrete floor was put on hold until the dental clinic design was completed. Facilities Service Manager Director Alan Wilczek explained the floor is currently under contract with Northland Concrete, and the dental floor is approximately 6,200 square feet. So we were looking at what to do with that, moving forward with them, or also a local contractor, what the difference would be. So Carol said that there must be a real estate declaration proving the county has legally separated the dental clinic space from the rest of the government center building. And we got went through a couple of the different options. And one option is to do a registered land survey, which would put the land into the Torrance system and requires an action to register the title for the two separate parcels in district court. And this option, there must be a 3D registered land survey, which is quite unusual. The second option is common interest community. This option, the county can record a declaration defining the separate units in common areas. And also, with Assistant County Attorney Greg Kreiser recommended the county choose option 1, which is a registered land survey. and the abstract will need to be updated. Most of the government's parcel has been found, but a sliver of parcel was taken off the highway parcel. So this would be used for the board for certification. Carol has informed the board that we must enter into a use agreement with the community dental care for the operation of the space. And Kesmark wanted to confirm that no one would be turned away from the dental clinic regardless if they do not have insurance. And community dental care's Bill Walker confirmed no one would be turned away if they need dental care. Recommendation was it was the board's decision to list the pre-design as design bid build, which is the best value. We'll check on Northland Concrete regarding the possibility of doing a change order for the dental clinic concrete floor. It's the board's recommendation to move forward with registered land survey on the new government center and dental clinic. The steering committee meeting scheduled for 1 p.m. Monday, July 26th, and the items will include project budget and use agreement, land, or including lease rate. Number 3, the new government space for outside agencies. Kelly said there is a space planned on the first floor of the government center for the Wright County Economic Development Partnership, about 950 square feet, and has not been determined how much the lease rate will be for the EDP. There was discussion also regarding the testing services at the new government center. The legislature provided funds for testing agencies to open, but that time frame is unclear. And Vetch provided some language for the letter to the county board we'll be sending to DVS regarding the possibility of testing at the License Center and the new government center. The Department of Corrections has a lease in the Justice Center, and their rate is 21.10 cents per square foot. So we're looking into what other leases are in areas in Buffalo. Lindsay Meyer said that there's been some analysis regarding DVS occupying the space to do road tests and our knowledge test, based on the idea that if an individual were to test at the county facility, can be safely assumed most of the test takers will pass then to go to the license center, and the county would receive the revenue that's associated with the person passing the test. The board's recommendation is to send this agenda to the next Ways and Means meeting for further discussion. And the 4th item, the 2022 budget status update. So budget books were due at the end of the day, July 9th, and documents are in the process of being reviewed. There are some items that are still waiting to be passed from outside entities. There's several position requests that have been submitted that will need to be circled back for more discussion. The recommendation, Kelly would like the board to adopt the final schedule at the board meeting on July 27th, 2021. The 5th item was the American Rescue Plan, and we're continuing to prepare for meetings, and the Committee of the Whole was met actually on July 14th. Update on the compost facility structural assessment, that was number 6. 2 engineers are scheduled to be on site at the compost facility on Friday, July 23rd to do an assessment. The 7th item, the board room technology needs. Wilczek said there's extensive specification book put together as part of this project. All items listed in the book are under contract as part of the original bid documents for the technology. And there is a request for a stop clock in the new boardroom and a light to alert individuals if they are currently in a meeting that is live. The recommendation, we'll look into adding 2 stop clocks to the boardroom and a light showing if the meeting is being broadcast. So that is the minutes and the recommendations, and I will move them both.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Houston, second by Commissioner Ketchmark. Is there any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Coordinator Kelly, Ways and Means.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Administrator Kelly, I'm sorry. I'm forgetful.
Ways and Means Committee met on July 14th. Number of staff present. Of course, Commissioners Hewsome and Wetter on that committee. First item of discussion was regarding roof replacement of the Historical Society buildings, which are located at the Wright County Fairgrounds. We talked about some issues that needed to be remedied with the first item of discussion was relating to the Welker Schoolhouse. Tim Dahl, our risk manager, had filed a claim with MCIT, which is our insurance group, seeking if there was some coverage, and was waiting back on a final result of that, but it did seem there may be some opportunities to get some coverage to cover some repairs to the building out there, as well as the barn structure in the octagon. We also discussed there's 2 log cabins that are out there with cedar shingles on them that need some repair. So we're looking into with MCIT if this would be able to be covered. We did have a discussion about who owns some of the buildings on site, both the Octagon building as well as the schoolhouse and the log building. We did talk a little bit about the contract that the county has with the Ag Society regarding how the county does own those structures. However, the Ag Society maintains, improves, and responsible for costs of maintenance with that. So discuss some of those issues. We're looking to have some more information, so the recommendation was to send this item back to Ways and Means Committee on Wednesday, August 11th. If we have more information sooner from MCIT, we will add it to the Wednesday, July 28th Ways and Means Committee. Second discussion was about disposition of excess equipment located here at the Government Center downtown and the Human Services Center, which we will be vacating. Talked a little bit about some of the equipment that's still in the old jail and some items that we had donated to Wright County Community Action. Kind of in the discussion here, we've had varying success in selling items both online as well as in person. The recommendation from staff was to wait until all departments are moved to the new facilities before we take an inventory and look and sell things. We did have a discussion about what can be reused technology-wise from the facilities as we move forward. So the recommendation was to wait to take an inventory of the equipment and furniture until all the departments have moved to the new government center.
Mr. Chair, I'll move the minutes and the recommendations.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Houston, second by Commissioner Vett. Any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Personnel Committee. We met on last Wednesday, July 14th. Subject was regarding a full-time attorney for the Civil Division, a full-time legal administrative assistant. Again, this is all strictly for the attorney's office. There's one of the chief deputy is at some point planning on retiring in the near future. I think we said that his near future would be 4 or 5 years away from now. Since he hasn't told us, we're just going to assume that he's going to hang around for a few more years. The advantage of hiring a deputy at this point would to be kind of download all that information that the chief deputy currently has at the attorney's office. He's been there a long time, has been doing this, and there's a lot of information that he has that will be a benefit to the county going forward. So there was discussion regarding hiring a new county attorney. It was recommended on this one that this position will continue after the chief deputy retires. And he's looking for another permanent one, which we said that will have to be discussed at, somebody want to get that, help that person get the door? will be discussed at budget time for another. And then there was also discussion regarding the full-time legal assistant. And that, because of difficulties with the sheriff's software and the attorney's software and it not talking to each other, we approved to have a full-time legal administrative assistant with the condition that additional positions in the attorney's office be proposed in the budget regarding another person for this. Right now, this will be done if somebody retires as an administrative assistant at the county attorney's office. They will not be allowed to hire another person to replace that one until budget time. So hopefully that won't happen anytime soon. Mr. Lutz, did I miss anything?
Good morning, Mr. Chairperson, fellow commissioners. I don't believe you missed anything, Mr. Chairperson. We did talk about the possibility of some possible American Rescue Plan funding for the legal assistant position.
That's right. Correct.
Due to how COVID has changed how we accomplish our work. And I think just to state it differently with respect to the new civil attorney, there would be discussion later at the budgetary process of whether that is a new permanent position or simply some overlap until Brian retires. And that was a discussion for a later date as we left it, I believe.
Mr. Chair, I'm glad to see that we're being proactive and planning ahead on this. I mean, to read and hear there's a number of expertise that Chief Deputy Asselson has that nobody else in this office has, that there gives you that opportunity and time to transfer that expertise is huge, so.
Yeah, so I think we all agreed that until all that information has been transferred, he cannot retire.
He did perk up when I got back to the office when he heard that projected salary number for next year. That number got his attention a little bit.
Oh, did he? So, yeah. We'll hang around a little bit longer then. Good. All right, I'll accept a motion.
I'll make that motion. Mr.
Second.
Chair.
Motion by Commissioner Houston, second by Commissioner Vetch. Any further discussions?
That would be for the minutes and the recommendation, which is to approve to hire full-time attorney for civil division and approve to hire a full-time legal administrative assistant with the condition that additional positions in the attorney's office being proposed in the 2022 budget and will be discussed by the county commissioners during upcoming budget meetings. So,
All right.
so that is my motion, but second.
Yeah.
I'll second it.
Further discussions?
I just have one little correction with, as opposed to alternative, that I be listed as alternate.
Alternative. I didn't even catch it. I just read it as alternate.
Not alternative?
I might be alternative, I don't know.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Thank you, Brian. Commissioner Ketchmark, Committee of the Whole for July 14th also.
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you. I think I got the shortest amount of minutes, but important nonetheless.
Yes.
So this was talking about the American Rescue Plan consultant and the chance we had to interview them. So the Baker Tilly Company was present, gave their presentation on services available for the American Rescue Plan and how that'll be doled out and legally and appropriately. And the second firm was Flaherty and Hood. They gave a presentation on what their services would include. We had a chance to ask questions. They both went into the experience that they had either researching the funds or working with a similar program in the past. Both were open to offering partial service as needed, not a package deal, but kind of cafeteria style if we wanted to pick and choose from both firms. They were open to that. Another thing to note is the service that we use will be paid by ARP money. And recommendation from the staff was, to determine the needs and a not to exceed amount for one or both of these companies, and then that'll be brought to a future board meeting on a consent agenda. And with that, that concludes the meeting minutes from 7:14 Committee of the Whole.
Can I have a motion?
I'd make a motion to accept those meeting minutes from 7:14 Committee of the Whole meeting
And the recommendation.
and the recommendation.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Ketchmark, second by Commissioner Vetch. Any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Advisory Committee, Advisory Board update. I'm going to start this one off. If I could get the veterans person up here to the podium, please. It was brought to my attention that the Veterans Office went above and beyond their normal scope of work to help find family members of a deceased Civil Wars veterans, and I'm going to let you take it over from there.
Yes, sir. So I was contacted last week. One of the workers at, I think it's Midway Iron up in St. Cloud, found a grave marker in the back of a car that was recycled. He was friends with one of our vets, so he called his buddy, who then called me, said, "Hey, Greg, we found this stone. What do we do with it?" I'm like, so they described it to him, and I was like, well, it sounds like a VA marker. So I went up there and picked it up. It's one of the big 4-foot tall granite markers, so it's
It's made out of styrofoam, right?
yeah, made out of styrofoam. I
So it's
picked up
what
one hand.
yeah.
So we brought it back to the office, and then I talked with John, our communications officer. He put it on Facebook, and we were contacted many, many times. Yesterday, he posted it, but we did track down the family members. They live up, the one I tracked down lives up in Pillager, up by north of Little Falls. So I made contact with him, and we're going to try to get the stone back to them next week after the fair's over. And then I was also contacted last night by supposedly another family member that I've got to track down and coordinate between the two of them to make sure it goes to whichever family member really wants it. Because we got some good hints from the Facebook post where to look for how to track this down. Find a Grave, I found out, was a great site for tracking
It is.
people who have passed, especially our veterans, because there's thousands and thousands. So I was able to track it from the veteran who was a Civil War veteran to his child, to his grandchild, to his great-grandchild, to his great-great-grand. So it was very useful to find it. So we did successfully track it down. We're going to get it back to him as soon as we can. So
Anyway, I want to thank you. I thought that was
Yeah.
a very neat human interest story,
It's a great story.
yeah,
to find, and this thing is 350 pounds about.
yeah,
I
it's
mean,
big. It's big. The funny thing is, the guy who took it out of the car was smaller than me. He said, "No, yeah, I just picked it out of the car and dragged it up here." I'm
Oh,
like,
what?
yeah, yeah. So, but it took him and I to get it in the back of my truck.
He must work harder than you.
Yeah, probably a little bit, yeah, and much
Or
younger
physical work.
and younger.
Yeah, okay, all right.
So yeah, it was good. Thanks to especially John, because I was like, how do I find this guy? Because we did our normal sources through the National Memorial Service, who tracks all the memorials, and I was like, well, we don't show a record, but it's so old, it's possible that the federal government lost the record. So, yeah. So John was very helpful. Thanks to all the people on Facebook who replied. A lot of them were the same reply, telling me, but I do appreciate all the public's concern and help tracking down the family. If it weren't for John and the public responding and telling us where to look, we probably would still be looking for it, so.
And we believe this person was from Wadena County? Was that what it was?
Yeah, it's Wadena. He's actually, I think he's buried in Marshall Cemetery up there. Actually, on Find a Grave, they've got a picture. So I don't know if this was a replacement stone because the VA can replace them, because on the picture it is marked, but we looked at it, the stone that's in that picture is not the one that's in our office, so I'm assuming it was probably a replacement stone. It could even be a private stone they had commissioned, because there's a lot of companies that will make the exact same VA marker, just you have to pay for it versus the VA providing it. So, but we're gonna get it back to the family to do what they want. I just didn't want it to get destroyed or damaged in any way, so, because it is considered a national monument.
Yep.
And it is for our Civil War veteran. Those are few and far between, and if you do lose them, they're hard to replace.
Mr. Chair, Greg, the mystery is, how did it end up in this man's trunk?
Interesting. I don't know. I don't have that story yet. I'm gonna talk to the family and try to figure out how it got there. The phone call I got last night might explain it, but I've got to verify that this is who they say they are and stuff. But I will get the whole story and pass it back to you about how it.
Yeah.
You know.
Just don't wait for
But
another-
good on the public too. The guys at Midway Iron, so doing what they're supposed to do. If they find something like that, you know, they're not supposed to take the bronze markers and melt them down. They're supposed to call and recover it and not recycle those. So they did exactly what they were supposed to do. And so it was a community effort. I'm just the guy with the truck to pick it up.
So it is on the county's Facebook page, so if you want to see what it looks like, it's on there.
Yeah.
Or from my understanding, it's over in his office too.
Yeah. You can come try to move it if you want.
Anyway, thank you, Greg. I just thought it was
You're welcome.
something very interesting for the county. Administrator Kelly, do you have anything?
Sure. I mentioned earlier in the meeting, of course, we have sent out a broadband survey. Residents may be receiving that in their mailbox, as we did mail that to some homes, as well as putting it on our website as part of our process. And then we will also be having several locations where the county's at the Wright County Fair this week, the 21st through the 25th. Those of you interested to go to the fair. We'll have out flyers and information there where people can participate in that survey. So look for that, and we would appreciate your input towards that. With ARP, we're continuing to work on that. We have our portals we've started to set up and a lot of the applications built on the backside. So working towards that. Our group is now meeting to any claims that are coming through with that. We set up a kind of office hours, if you will, for Wednesday for the townships to come in. If they have any issues in applying for their ARP funds, we opened up the computer lab here to try and help them in the application piece, so we'll be doing that this week as well. Of course, budget season is upon us. As mentioned earlier in the meeting, I'm planning that the budget schedule will be approved at next week's meeting, so look for that. So thank you.
Mr. Chair, I did say I heard from a few townships that it was well received to have that training on, or not training, but assistance available on Wednesday, so that was.
Hopefully we'll get a number of townships there to help, or to get the help that they want. Good. Mr. Ratch?
So last week on Friday, we had our one of our management committee meetings as part of our Wright County Economic Development Partnership meetings, kind of to review the budget request, which is going to be the same as it was previously last year to the county. So no additional funds, no change there. We also had some discussions over what their funding allocations for programs and stuff will look like for this next year. One of the programs that they'd like to do would be to do a market area profile. Those studies are used pretty extensively by large retailers, hotels, hospitalities, in looking for locations and determining need in those areas when going out and looking for areas to develop. So that study was about a $4,000 study. They are looking to see if the county EDA would like to partner with them at a 50-50 partnership for that study. So that'll come to a future county EDA meeting to start building a robust information that we can basically be able to put out there for economic development in the county. So we also discussed the partnerships, what do you call it, membership title. So it was actually kind of funny because Jolene did some good research and ended up finding out that it was actually originally they were called partners at the beginning when it was in its inception, and for whatever reason it kind of morphed into membership. So there's a renewed effort, and we'll take it to the full board next month to try to train it back to calling the members partners and removing that exclusivity to Wright County Economic Development Partnership. So when we do have grant programs out there, we don't have to answer that question is, do I have to be a member to utilize their services? It is for all citizens of the county, not just the membership. So.
Is it?
That's it.
Well, you forgot a couple of things.
I did?
Yeah.
Well, there probably is. There's a great number of things I could bring out there, but bring up.
It's been a while regarding, we've had this opportunity.
Oh, that's
On
true.
the- On the 9th, we met
yeah.
Bertram Lake for the, the
You're
parks.
right. Oh my gosh, I forgot we had the 4th of July weekend there and this stuff. We have workshop. I should go back and put them all. Go ahead.
Anyway, the Bertram Lake Campground is opening this week? Next week?
It's
Anyway,
next week.
Next week. They're only gonna open up half of it because of, trying to establish turf, and it's kind of been dry, so they wanna destroy the turf out there. They've been watering. So they're gonna open up half of it, and they're gonna swap, campsites every week, so that, they can, irrigate the area that had just been used and then have the fresh sites for the other ones. Reservations opened up last week, I believe, and my guess is it's probably full already. A lot of people have been anxious for that one. We have those camper cabins out there too, which is unique for Wright County, the only other place that has camper cabins. And I'm not sure exactly how they work, but up in Lake Maria State Park, I believe, is the only other place. So, and that's by the state. And the park met on the 12th. We met in Siegel Park, very busy park. We discussed a number of things, and then we took a walk. The river is extremely low, and they're hopefully going to be able to get the shoreline rehabbed while the water is this low. It's ideal conditions. They've gotten all the permits and everything, so hopefully that's going to happen soon. We took a walk out through the area, and one thing we all noticed that none of us got a mosquito bite.
Yeah, we didn't have any mosquitoes this
Which
year.
was really kind of unique.
Yeah.
In the evening, walking in the woods and not having one mosquito bite. And none of us had any mosquito spray on. And then we met mental health, met on Tuesday afternoon to discuss the different needs in the county and what can be accomplished and that sort of stuff. Possibly with some of the state funding that's happening and, excuse me, and the facility up in St. Cloud and some other areas regarding the mental health issues that are happening in not only in the county but also in the state. And there's also some interest regarding the money that's going to be coming available strictly for, I want to use the term drug rehab, but I might be wrong on what it's called. But anyway, it's for some of the money that's going to be coming from the pharmaceutical companies in the painkiller lawsuits and stuff. And it sounds like a substantial amount. And unlike the tobacco lawsuit, the money is going to be almost 100% earmarked for drug rehabilitation and helping that out because of the high number of drug overdoses, last year, I think they were saying there was 93,000 throughout the United States. Other than that, that's enough for me.
3,000, wow.
Could I say something?
Um,
Am I allowed
Not right now, I'm sorry. Commissioner Houston?
Okay, so the AIS met on July 8th, and a number of items, we went over the AIS budget. There's actually, the state has over $8 million for AIS prevention aid that was used by 61 counties in 2020 and in a number of different areas. We also talked about the bait compost that we have, little bait compost bins, I guess they are, and 12 stations in Wright County. So those have been used. A master gardener constructed those for us. So people, when they get done fishing and stuff, they can put their bait in there, and it's not, laying all over the place.
Which it's not legal to put in the lake.
Correct. Yep, you're not supposed to, or throw it on the shore or whatever. So to put those in the bins, and they just need to go in occasionally and kind of turn over the compost from that. We also got an inspection update, and as of July 7th, on a number of lakes, they had 3,095 license plates that they tracked, and 7.4% entered with a drain plug violation. 5%, there was species found on their boats. It might be mud, plant, residual water in their boats, and there was 4 instances of zebra mussels found trying to enter the lake. So good to catch those. And they're also having a Starry Trek on August 21st. That will be at Clearwater Pleasant Access. They have volunteers from all over the state that go in and are looking for starry stonewort. So if anyone's interested in going on that. They're also having a MASICS tour, which is at the University of Minnesota. Where they're doing all the AIS research and things. That's an open house on September 22nd. And they keep working on lots of ways to keep our water clear and clean. The Safe Communities of Wright County met on July 9th, and one of the things that we learned is one of our sober cabs is out of business, but there is a new town taxi in Annandale. They also talked about the message boards and getting them out for different things. There was message boards put out on the Highway 39 Monticello Otsego route because a lot of people are using the center lane as kind of a pass lane. And anyway, it's supposed to be a turn lane, not a pass lane. And we also got an update. Our fatalities are way up in 2021. On that date, there was 217 fatalities, but when I was driving, I was hearing some more statistics, and it's over 220 now. And the speed-related deaths, they're up 63%. Seatbelt noncompliance is up 18%, and 65% higher motorcycle fatalities. So people, please pay attention, buckle up, don't use your cell phones when you're driving. And they're having a local Heroes Day in Monticello, and I need more information about this, but it's going to be Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st. So seeking if I can, I'm sorry, it's August 19th, 20th, and 21st from 10 to 4. And so anyway, we had some discussion about that. That's a free event for law enforcement, fire, police, healthcare workers. And our director continues to do her Wright Road and parent teen presentations. So busy trying to do what we can to reduce traffic crashes in Wright County. All right, that's it.
Commissioner Ketchmark. Hey, when is the county fair?
Be patient, I'll get to it.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, since we met last board meeting, we had the quarterly township officers meeting, and with that, there was discussion about ARP money. They were interested in the status on the local assessors and the county assessors. And what also came out of it is they were interested in the weed mitigation in the road right-of-way of county highways. So from that, we got that on an upcoming agenda that we'll discuss with the highway department, and so that's something that we can address that came out of that meeting, that when we all got together. Another meeting was the Highway 12 Coalition, and as Commissioner Houston said, the fatal crashes are up this year, and 3 of the factors involved in a lot of the crashes: speed, alcohol, no seatbelt. West Hennepin talked about the detour in their county for Highway 12, and of course the crashes have shifted, so they're happening on the detour, which otherwise would happen on Highway 12. They're dealing with that. Planning and zoning meeting, we had one of those. We had 3 field trips, all in the southeast part of the county. They'll all be addressed at the next planning meeting, which will be this Thursday night. And then lastly, the fair starts tomorrow at noon. They think everything will be, all the stands will be open. One part of feedback last night was a little report they had on the pre-sale tickets and how well they're doing in all categories, whether it's Combine Derby or Carnival wristbands, all these things way up from the past couple of years when they had the fair. So it was good to see that report. So they're ready to go. Starting tomorrow, goes through Sunday. And some of us have some judging and presenting and different things out there coming up.
And kids 17 and under are free.
Right. A lot of new attractions for anyone in the building or listening. We have more fair guidebooks, so make sure you take one with you. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, in reference to the fair comments, I'd just like to remind the public too, Saturday is the Veterans Day, so veterans get in free, park free on that day, so please come out and enjoy the fair, courtesy of the Wright County Fair Board. So.
And you always have a nice program.
Absolutely. We will have a program, starts at 11 o'clock. The American Legion is hosting that. They have a guest speaker, so it'll be about an hour long. They're going to do the presentation of the colors, play all the service songs, guest speaker. It's a really nice program. We do it every year, and we get a good turnout. So,
What band?
it is the what band is it?
Is it one of the high schools, or?
I don't know. I'd have to check the book.
Yeah, we talked about, I forget the name of the band, but it is a band. It's not, and they learned, I think it is one of the school bands. They learned all the service songs. So instead of playing the pre-recorded this year, I think they're actually going to play the service song. So it's.
That'll be cool.
Yeah, it will be. It's a really nice program for the veterans.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Nothing else. Coming before the board, we are adjourned at 10:28.